All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez. We are back today after a long weekend. So we had no podcast yesterday. Last one was on Friday. Friday night had its fair share of stuff happening this weekend. Had some good stuff, but that's not even the best news came yesterday. And before I allude to what that is, you already know. But I hope everybody had a great weekend, a great Memorial Day weekend, honoring those who served or have laid down more than we can imagine. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Great weekend of baseball. Obviously, Memorial Day is a big baseball day. Obviously, I think every single team played yesterday, so that's exciting. But today, as we get into the news, today will be a typical news episode. We're going to recap some top topics that I've gotten from multiple sources, what have you. And the number one thing, and you had to have known if you listen to this podcast, you had to have known if you're a baseball fan, you heard the news already that Angel Hernandez has officially retired from umpiring in the major leagues, at least I think in total, all the way. Which is that is the greatest news. And I know it sounds fucked up, however you want to say it, sounds messed up, whatever. I think that is the best news that I could have heard today. Honestly, like think about it, guys. Like this is, and I was split when I first heard the news because honestly, I saw the box and it was this one that said Angel Hernandez retired in big block, but I've seen like the MLB on Facts and all these crazy pages that make that shit up all the time. So I really thought it was just I was like, oh, this is just a joke. And then the news from Jeff Passan, Buster, all these different people came in talking about it. And I was like, this is really happening. This is really fucking happening. Angel Hernandez is officially done. And that is like, wow. And he's been, honest to God, and this is where I say I'm split. So I'm split on the reasoning that like, what is in my hair? I don't know what that is. Anyway, I was split when I heard the news because at the same time it's like I give this guy. I know I've shit on umpires more than I'd probably like to admit at times, but it's true. I mean they've been bad. I mean I can't even. We're gonna talk about a couple. They've been bad. I mean, no question. I just released a couple shorts yesterday on I think I have another one that's going to come out today about the Cody Bellinger slide. That was on Sunday. Umpires have been bad, man, all year, and I feel bad, and I'm not as a human being. I'm mad. I'm upset that it came down to this. But to be in all honesty, guys, like he was bad at his job. Let's just call it for what it is. He was fucking horrible. I mean, there's when you have compilation videos of you missing calls and that you've become an absolute meme on the internet. Most of the time it's for good reason. Like no one's just gonna clown you for no fucking reason. Like if you're good at what you do and you're a solid figure in your sport or profession, whatever, you're not gonna really get a lot of shit. But this guy was fucking horrible, man. So I saw this article because the first person to leak it was a guy at USA Today, which was Bob Nightingale, who's the first person to get this thing going. So I found his original article. He wrote this last night. Updated it, I guess, this morning. So yeah, he called it a career today. But apparently MLB and Hernandez had spent the last 2 weeks negotiating a financial statement before they reached a resolution on this whole thing. But if we're going to be 100% honest, I think that this whole umpire situation, from all of it, because obviously Angel Hernandez is part of the problem, but he's not the whole problem. Let's be honest. There's still a lot of really fucking bad umpires out there. Like we've seen numerous. I've covered numerous blown calls, numerous fuck ups by umpires, and a lot of them are not Angel Hernandez. So the problem is rooted in baseball, and then who are they hiring for umpires? They're whatever their guidelines, their boxes that need to be checked for guys to get out there and umpire. That's the problem. Angel Hernandez is part of the problem, a big piece of the problem, but he's not the entirety of the problem. So I think that Major League Baseball was like, all right, man, like we're going to just pay you, right? Or clearly, like we spent 2 weeks negotiating the financial settlement. We're just gonna pay you and like bye. Like we're good. You just don't come back. And as I was reading this, so he gave a statement. It doesn't make me feel good about roasting him. It's like I started my first Major League game in 1991. I had a very good experience living out my childhood dream, umpiring the major leagues, which is, bro, you had to know you weren't good. Like, I've made colleagues and friendships. I don't think that a single umpire is cool with you, bro, because you make them look horrible. I've decided that I want to spend more time with my family. That I don't believe, but sure. I think they pushed you out. But the biggest thing that I do remember about Angel Hernandez is that he was upset that he was passed over as crew chief in what year was it? 17, and created a racial discrimination lawsuit against Major League Baseball in 2017. I remember this because he wanted to be crew chief in postseason, but he's not good. Like, you were not good enough. There's videos of CC Sabathia talking about this and talking about how he has no business being anywhere near a playoff game. And it's true. Like, yeah, I mean, we can get away with some stuff here and there, Angel, like some fuck ups mid-season. But putting you in a postseason game when it really fucking matters, I think Major League Baseball's not even dumb enough to do that, dude. Come on, let's be honest. But he lost that suit. Obviously didn't get anything out of that because that makes no sense because he's a cute, because of race. No, dude, it's because you're fucking bad. It has nothing to do with race. But people be trying to find anything these days. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. So he was promoted to a full-time umpire in '93, and in recent years was considered by player managers the worst umpire. Agreed. He was lambasted on social media earlier on April 12th. Yeah, I have a video of that on with Wyatt Langford when he struck out on 3 pitches that were nowhere near the strike zone. I think that was the antithesis of everything. That was like, this is the problem, right? This is a serious issue, right? So he only worked 10 games last year because he had a back injury, but missed in those 10 games, guys. Okay, let me just be honest. So there's an umpire auditor, right? He only did, and this is why I think like we didn't see a lot of him last year because he wasn't really relevant. He was out. He only had 10 games last year. So this is why like this year it feels like this whole umpire situation has blown up to this massive thing because now it's like Angel Hernandez sucks, and then people start kind of picking on the umpires. So now we've got this massive thing. But last year he wasn't really around. But let me give you this stat to just kind of explain how stupid this sounds. Okay. In 10 games, that's 90 innings. He missed 161 calls, guys, last year. 161 in 10 games. That is egregious. He had 3 calls in 2018. So just a year after he wanted to be crew chief, he had 3 calls overturned at first base in Game 3 of the 2018 American League Divisional Series. 3 in one game. That means you're so fucking bad that in the same game, you've had 3 calls overturned at first base. That was, and then Pedro, obviously. Pedro is unhinged. Pedro Martinez is unhinged, so he just let him fucking have it. There's a quote from Pedro Martinez. Angel was horrible, he said. Don't get me going on Angel now. Major League Baseball needs to do something about Angel. It doesn't matter how many times he sues Major League Baseball. He's as bad as there is. Agreed. Horrible. Yo, I saw the video of Yankees of CC Sabathia, who always keeps it real. I mean, he's CC Sabathia, fucking legend. Keeps it real. I don't understand why he's doing these games. He's always bad. He's a bad umpire. There's a video of him just absolutely just destroying the umpire crew, namely Angel Hernandez. But the funny thing is that Angel Hernandez was never considered MLB's worst umpire, according to MLB statistical studies and reports. But in the court of obviously public opinion, he's the fucking worst. He's the worst. I'm still curious. What are they using to measure these guys? If he's not the worst, who is? Because, fuck, man. Anyway, so Angel Hernandez is done. Hopefully, and like I said, just reading off the fact that they were looking for a financial settlement and the homeboy didn't come back. He umpired his last game almost 20 days ago, almost over 2 weeks ago. He umpired his last game almost 2 weeks ago. Apparently, he left from doing behind the plate on May 9th and never returned and was just replaced by another guy, but never returned. What happened? Like, I think he probably honestly, like, okay, I get that he's an older gentleman. I get that. But there's no way that he didn't know that he was getting shit on everywhere. No way. There's no way he did not know he was getting absolutely railed by everyone. So I think that played a role. I think that definitely played a role with Major League Baseball to let him go. There's no question. But at the same time, warranted, man. Warranted. Angel Hernandez is done. We don't have to watch any more games umped by Angel Hernandez. It's like fucking Christmas, man. It's like fucking Christmas. But enough of Angel Hernandez. He's done. I mean, guys, the comments on this is hilarious. There's like, I just saw a guy collapse to his knees in Walmart and crying in happiness. Like, there are so many memes going on and fucking hilarious comments. So, wow. But anyway, now we're going to talk about Blake Snell. So, Blake Snell obviously was one of the whole guys with Scott Boras. The whole situation with Scott Boras didn't sign till like, I think like a week before the season started. Same with Montgomery, Jordan Montgomery. Is that his name? Jordan Montgomery? Yeah, Jordan Montgomery, um, who went to the Diamondbacks. Chapman was another one who signed, I think, with like 3 weeks left in spring training. Like it was a bad situation, right? So Snell goes out there, starts his year. Obviously, was on the injured list for a little bit, but then went into paternity. I think his wife had a baby, so he missed for that. Which kind of extended his leave from the game because he went from the IL to the paternity list to now make it his start last night, which he was a lot better. He was a lot better, guys. But he made a statement, and this is something I tell a lot of people, especially with injuries. Like Kevin Gausman was a guy who talked about a little bit earlier this year, who's had a rough start to the year, but spent the whole entire spring training on the IL. Is people don't quite underestimate how crucial spring training is for these guys. And let me explain why. So you can't go, right? So Blake Snell last year obviously didn't compete in the postseason, right? He didn't compete in the postseason with the Padres. Pitched really well that year, obviously Cy Young, you know. But not pitching, because you go and sorry, I got all this where is this fuzz coming from, bro? I think this is my dog's hair. So he goes from having this great year, and then you go dormant for a couple months. You take your off time, you take your off season, then you're supposed to work your way back, get back into shape, and slowly build up to where you're major league ready. And as the season goes on, then you slowly build up to where you want to, you can do 100 pitches, because a lot of guys at the beginning of the year are capped at 80 to 85, 90 at the most. Some guys are capped as 100, depends on how their spring training goes. So all this to say that a lot of people were shitting on Blake Snell, saying he's not good enough. He thought he was worth $300 million. He's not. Blake Snell is worth $300 million. I think that I think that he is worth $300 million. I think he's worth anywhere from 200 to 300, truly, honestly, because he's a great fucking pitcher, and he's shown that year after year after year when he was with Tampa, then when he was with San Diego. Now he had a rough start with San Francisco. So, but the rough start with San Francisco is the whole thing. He wasn't even allowed to pitch against big league hitters, and he says that in his video. He goes, "Guys, like the first game I pitched this year was the first time I pitched against big league hitters." And he goes, and as you look at the starts, they get better as I go because I'm getting more comfortable just being here. And that's what I tried to tell a lot of people when people were shitting on Blake Snell at the beginning of the year, saying, "Oh, he thought he was worth $300 million. He ain't shit. He ain't this. He ain't that." And I'm sitting here going, "Guys, he didn't even have a spring training. He was throwing bullpens to nobody. Like bullpens and throwing is great. It's a great tool. It's a great piece. You need it when you're in your spring training, when you're gearing up to go into the season. You need those bullpens that are just bullpens. But then you also need to know how to pitch to batters of that caliber and know where to go and where you should put pitches. It's a completely different dynamic." So I hear him. So Blake Snell on the up and up, man. He did good yesterday. Had the immaculate inning. For some reason, every time I posted the Blake Snell immaculate inning and my take on it and like my reporting of it, the video just never wanted to post, so I never put it up. It was really strange. Like it was almost like whoever it was didn't want everyone to know that Blake Snell threw an immaculate inning. I don't know. It was very strange. TikTok, Instagram did not want it. It had nothing to do with that video. Filmed it twice, till two different files, thinking it was maybe the files, and just didn't want to go up. So I never posted it. But Blake Snell did have an immaculate inning earlier this year, which was crazy. But honestly, I just wanted to take the time to explain, like, guys, like if you don't know how important spring training is and how true it is, like that they need this going into the year and how beneficial it is for them to be successful in the season, like you're dead wrong. Spring training is necessary on all levels. It's not just this fuck around where celebrities come out and people are having a good time. Like people are proving themselves to make the 40. People are gearing up to truly take on the year. Like it is a big deal. And if you don't have spring training, odds are, unless you're just some fucking freak, you're probably not going to succeed very well in the season if you don't have a solid spring training, or at least take spring training seriously. So for people clowning Blake Snell, cut the man some slack. He didn't even go to spring training. So just want to talk about that because I thought that was really interesting, and a lot of people don't take that into account when they bring stuff up. And now we'll move on to some sadder, bigger news. And now that this is up, I'm going to look up some Braves stats because I do want to talk about the Braves. So I actually went on a couple days ago and I was talking about the Braves. because I thought that they were still a really strong team, considering how many how many injuries they've had in this year. Notably, the Sean Murphy's been down for a while. Austin Riley's been out for a bit. And I just made a video about this on socials. If you want the shorter version, you can go watch that. They've had to ask a lot of Max Fried to step up, though. He's been their ace considerably for a while now. He's been the guy. And Max Fried is the guy. He's had 2 CGs this year, flirting with no-hitters up into the 6th, 7th inning. So Max Fried is the fucking dude. Then they had Chris Sale, who, again, no one expected anything out of, for the most part. No one expected him to be, 2015, 2016 Chris Sale. But here we are, and Chris Sale is absolutely dominating baseball right now. So that's a good deal. And then they got a couple other pieces, a couple other starters. Bryce Elder's been one guy that's been going back and back. They just DFA'd AJ Minter, Renato Lopez, Charlie Morton. I always forget about Uncle Charlie, man. Charlie Morton, not bad. 4.29 ERA, could lower that. Another vet. So you've got Chris Sale, Chris Morton, Max Fried, Ronaldo Lopez. Not horrible, but Spencer Strider would obviously be completing that rotation. But that's not who we're talking about today. But if you know that we're talking about the Braves, you know exactly why we're talking about the Braves today. And that is that they have lost Ronald Acuna Jr. again, who tore his left ACL on Sunday. Sunday. This weekend is just blending. So they lose Ronald Acuna on Sunday. And it was a very minimal movement. It was very strange. It was like he wanted to duke the catch like he was going to go, but like almost pulled a Bo Jackson and went too fast for his body to react, and his knee just caved on itself. It was crazy. No contact, no one around him. Just dude went down. And but anyway, let's get into the history of that and what they're really going to do. Honestly, Ronald Acuna Jr. and people were freaking out, and obviously it's a big blow because you don't know what he could have been this year, but he hadn't really done a whole lot. I think he hit his first home run like a couple weeks ago. Like, let's see. Ronald Acuna, man, batting .250. 48 hits. I mean, he's about where they're supposed to be. He only has 4 home runs. He has 1 triple, 8 doubles, 48 hits. Strikeouts 53. Second behind Matt Olson in strikeouts on this team. So he's been striking out a lot. Matt Olson, goddamn, 59 strikeouts, but you're batting .230. That's not that great either. So it's no question that the Braves, as they were touted to be one of the front runners in their division, obviously playoff contenders for sure starting this year, have not been around. They've not been around, they've been around. They just haven't been performing to like the Braves quality we've seen in the last 2 years, especially the last 2 postseasons, man. Like injury, just underperformances all around, except for really, they have one hitter in the 300s, and that's freaking Marcell Ozuna. Which Ozuna tearing it up. He was leading the league in home runs, and now he's kind of dipped off where he's got 15. So I think the lead is 18 and with Henderson and Tucker. So he's got 15. That's still pretty solid. He's on par to probably hit 45 home runs this year. That's a decent season, man. So Ozuna carrying the weight, honestly, for these guys. But in all honesty, like Ronald Acuna Jr., as suckish as that injury is, from the fact, and what makes it worse, guys, and a lot of people didn't quite know this, is that we lost him in 2021 to the right knee. He blew out the right knee, lost him all of 2022, got him back in 2023. He had a year in 2023. But the first half of that year was kind of tough because he was really building it back, and then he fell into his own. Then this year, off again. Maybe the knee bothering him. I don't know. Maybe there was some other stuff. Like maybe he wasn't 100%. I don't know. But like the thing happens with the knee, and then he's all gone. I mean, dude, it's May. Like we're a month, almost 2 months into the season, and you're done for the year. Granted, he gets the surgery like fucking today or tomorrow and starts the rehab process immediately. We may see him back in 2025. But then again, are we going to see that same thing where he needs like 3 months to really kind of get ready to go, or like whatever it is? It's still a setback. It's a major setback for a superstar in Acuna Jr. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. You don't like to see it because these are the fun guys to watch in baseball. Guys that whether you're a fan of the Braves or not, you're a fan of baseball, you love to watch some of these guys play. And there's a lot of guys like that. Mike Trout's one of those guys. I think like Shohei Ohtani is one of those guys. These guys are just, Acuna is one of those guys. Everybody, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, these are all guys that are good for baseball. They're good for the game. And like people are like, I had a lot of my friends were like, bro, you're not even a Braves fan. You're saying this. And I was like, no, I don't have to be a Braves fan to be a fan of the game, right? To know like this is a big blow for baseball because these guys are fun to watch. People like if let's say you travel. Let's say you're a fair weather baseball fan. You like baseball. Acuna is a guy you've heard of, you've seen on posters and advertisements, whatever. He's a guy that's good for baseball. And when I say that is like if you just travel to Atlanta, right? Let's say you go on a vacation or you're on a business trip and you go to Atlanta, right? And you go and you're like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? Like we're done at 4 today. Hey, we should go fucking catch a game at True. Let's go catch a game. Like we're here. The Braves are good. Let's go. You may know nothing about baseball. Maybe you know a little bit. High school guy. Maybe you know a little bit. And then, but you go to the game, you're like, I know Ronald Acuna. I'm going to root for that guy because I know that guy. Every team has that guy that's good for fucking baseball and just good for the overall feel of the game. Acuna is one of those guys. So to see him out for a year, it sucks. A lot of guys will pay money to go specifically for Acuna to watch him play and can't now. So that hurts ticket sales. It's a whole conglomerate of things. When I say it's good for baseball, he's good for baseball. It's that reason, right? So it sucks. It sucks for baseball because he's not playing. So big blow yesterday or on Sunday. I keep thinking today's Monday, but God, my days are fucked. So yeah, he's gone. He's gone. So we'll see how that goes. Best of luck in that recovery process because ACLs are no fucking joke, man. That shit sucks. I know friends who have done it. I've personally never done anything like that, but I know friends who have, and that sucks. So Godspeed to that guy. That's going to be another. And he's done it once, so I can only take the mental toll it's going to take. Like, I got to do this shit again? That's not fun, man. It's not fun. All right, so we got 2 more topics on the day. We're going to go pretty quick through these. So we got the Astros. We're going to talk about the Astros, who have been playing better. Nonetheless, been playing a lot better. What the hell? Damn it. I don't know what that was all about. I lost that. MLB. No, Astros. I'm not doing Astros. I want to talk about the Astros. Okay, so Astros lost yesterday, but positive note, they did get not Ronald Blanco. We're going to talk about Ronald Blanco. We're going to talk about Kyle Tucker, but we're going to talk about Abreu. Returned yesterday for the first time after batting 57 on the year. That was a whole ordeal. So they actually sent him down to the developmental leagues back in, I want to say a month ago. It was about a month into the season. So yeah, about probably the beginning of this month, they sent him down to Florida to the developmental league for them. But he looked really good. I saw his at bats. He didn't on paper look great. He didn't look like Chicago White Sox Jose Abreu but he seemed a lot more comfortable. You could tell. As I was watching him when he was really struggling, as that would fuck with anyone's head. You're batting like what? He was batting like fucking 50 something. It was bad, guys. Like if you didn't look at like how he was playing before everything happened, he didn't look comfortable in the box. He didn't look like himself up there. But like any pitch, he hit against like Miller. So Mason, not Mason Miller, but Miller of the Mariners is a great pitcher. He's one of their guys next to Kirby. Great pitcher, got an RBI single off that guy. Like he looked a lot more comfortable in the box, looked a lot better, and that's exciting to see. Obviously, you don't want to wish on somebody's downfall, especially like someone late in their career, like Jose Abreu. Great ball players, had a great tenure, great history of playing well. You want him to keep playing well. Like why would you want him to now suffer in his last couple of years? I'm not an Astros fan, but I root for a lot of their players, to be honest with you, because they have a lot of good guys. Jose Abreu is one of those guys. Not a fan of his little beard thing he's got going, but he's a great player, man. He's a great player. So watching him come back, it was not fun to watch somebody do that, right? To just go through it. But he isn't a lot better. You could tell he just looks better at the plate, looks a lot better. And he was one of their guys in the last 2 years that is like, we need you to hit. Like, you're carrying us. You're a great hitter. We need you here. And this, earlier this year, especially with them really struggling, which fits into that role of like, we've been really, we were having a tough time. It fits that, but like, hey, as they're coming up and out of all this bullshit, he's coming up and out of all his bullshit. So it works. On top of that, Kyle Tucker obviously still leading the league. Where are the stats? Kyle Tucker's still leading the league in home runs. I think he's got 18. The dude can't stop fucking hitting him, bro. 276, 18 home runs, 53 hits. 37 strikeouts. Kind of a lot next to Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez. These guys strike out like consistently quite a bit. Jose Altuve right under that 300 line, not bad. But Kyle Tucker is just I have become a major Kyle Tucker fan over this past year watching him play, and I've always felt like he was kind of one of those guys that's just a sleeper. Like out of nowhere, he could come out and do some crazy shit. Like he was one of the guys in the postseason last year that I was watching, and every year, like I've talked about this before, especially in big games. Like there's guys when you're rooting for a team, when somebody on the other opposing team comes up to the plate, you get a little nervous. You're like, oh man, I really don't know. If I'm pitching, I don't know how to pitch to this guy. Like if they're hot, whatever. Like he's one of those guys that you just get nervous when he comes to the plate. Take a deep breath. What are we going to throw this guy type deal? Like, cause they're dangerous hitters, man. So Kyle Tucker, another stud. But the other guy I wanted to talk about, that's not Altuve, is not Alvarez, is actually Ronel Blanco, who came back on his suspension. First time back yesterday since the whole sticky stuff debacle when they tossed him out the game the other day. Let's see where his last start. So his last 3 games he pitched. So he pitched against Oakland when he only threw 3 innings and the whole thing happened. He pitched for the first time in about a little less than 2 weeks. 10-game suspension he served. But he won 7 innings flat, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Another solid start. So if you thought that it was because of the sticky stuff he wasn't good, I don't know what he thought he was doing with the sticky stuff in that start against Oakland, especially against Oakland. Did you need it then, or did you need it the game before against the Yanks? Come on now, right? But so he pitches again against Oakland on the 26th, does phenomenal. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. That's pretty damn good. I think Ronel Blanco is good. I think that he's a great pitcher. I've said this. I think that for a while his reputation was kind of in jeopardy and this was the start that he needed to do well, because if you look back and he got caught with the sticky stuff on the 14th, let's say he comes back on the 26th and throws his start and he sucks ass, they're going to say, yeah, homeboy ain't shit without the sticky stuff. But, hey, threw a good game, man. Hey, Ronel Blanco's good. So maybe he wanted to try something there. I don't know, but Ronel Blanco's a good pitcher. He's going to be a big piece in their rotation until they get some of these injured pieces back, especially with Verlander not doing as hot as he normally should, and all the other gaps they have in their pitching rotation. Ronel Blanco is going to be a good piece. But the piece that I've been waiting to talk about, guys, and this is the last one I have for the day, which is shocking as hell, just considering how much buzz we've talked about them and how much superpower, how much money they've spent. And after those 2 statements, you should know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the Dodgers, and they're on a 5-game losing streak. And they got swept by the fucking Reds, bro. The Reds. They got swept by the Reds. And the Reds have been scuffling, bro. The Reds are not really a powerhouse team. They're one of the lower half of the division. Like, bro, what? The Reds swept the Dodgers? I would have never heard it. I watched them play, and that's when I started watching their series, was on Thursday or Friday when I saw them play. And that's the first time I really watched Ellie De La Cruz steal fucking 3 bags in the game. Glasnow didn't really have it that day, I remember. But to lose 4 to the Reds and then 1 to the Diamondbacks 6-0 is 4 to the Reds and 1 to the Diamondbacks towards the end of that series. It's not good. I mean, they haven't been pitching that well, which is crazy. But do we worry about the Dodgers at this point? I'm going to make a short video kind of talking about it here in a bit. But honestly, like, do we worry about them? Like, I don't quite know. Like, it's crazy. They have so much star power, so much talent, and they're getting swept by the Reds. It's just, and obviously you can go like, oh, it's just a cold streak. It happens to the best of the best, which is very true. It could just be a very cold streak. But I do feel like in the weeks leading up to this, there have been a lot of cracks and a lot of breaks and just stuff that, I don't know, it doesn't seem right. It just, for me, it seems off. The Dodgers seem off. Whether that's with Yamamoto, whether it's Glasnow. Buehler had a very shaky start when he returned, but then he kind of fell into his own. He's doing a lot better now. But there have been a lot of holes with the Dodgers and their performance on the mound, at the plate, defensively. Like, Gavin Lux has failed to get it going yet. Like, what are we going to do with that? There's a lot of things that the Dodgers have to figure out. That doesn't involve Shohei Ohtani. It doesn't involve Freddie Freeman, your key guys, all those guys. So it'll be curious to see what happens. They have who are they playing today? I just looked it up. Who are they playing today? The Dodgers have the Mets today, and the Mets have been struggling. Who's pitching? If it's Severino, I don't think it is. So they got the Mets today. So it'll be Gavin Stone for the Dodgers, and then Tyler McGill. A softball for the Dodgers to get out of this funk they're in, but we will see. Like I said, I'm trying to find this stuff here. I was trying to find the probables. But, yeah, it'll be a tough one today. But, like I said, a softball for them. The Mets have been awful as of late. Cannot win games. They have no closer at the moment. Edwin Diaz is nowhere to be found, which we're going to talk about that soon. But yeah, so the Dodgers 0-5 the last, or 5 the last 5 games. Not good. Let's see what they can turn it around with. But like I said, with the amount of money they've spent, with the amount of talent on that team, that just can't. In my opinion, if I'm management, that cannot. We don't get beat. We don't get swept by the fucking Reds when we're the Dodgers and we just spent 700 mil on Shohei Ohtani and all this other money on Glass now, Yamamoto. The talent on this team to get swept by the fucking Reds is just, it can't. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We just went over a couple topics today, had just, some stuff here and there. Debating if we're going to be doing this daily now, like we've been doing. I feel like it's a lot of content. I've had a lot of people say, I can't keep up. Like I missed one and then this. So I'm debating if I'm going to do this on three times a week, maybe, and then kind of focus on some other pieces of content. Haven't fully decided yet. Gonna think about it, but for sure going to probably do one every day this week. It's a short week. It's already Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to have definitely some short content today. If you haven't checked out our Instagram or socials, go check that out. We have a lot of cool content on there. Check out obviously if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a lot of shit on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, go check out our YouTube, man. We got full videos on there. We got breakdowns. We got all the above, man. So go check it out. Like, follow, subscribe. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm having a blast doing this. It's a great time. So like I said, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.